Hey, what's going on, my fellow otaku friends? What's happening? Happening tonight? I want to talk about an anime that I love dearly. It matters a great deal to me. Ranma 1/2. One of my very first, and one of the best anime comedies of all time, I'd argue. I'd argue this because there is no argument, really. It is one of the best anime comedies of all time. And it's getting a remake. They just announced a remake. Studio Mappa is handling the remake of Ranma 1/2. They released a trailer for it and all that shit. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it, guys. I'm just gonna say it right here, right now. I might sound like a hypocrite, but I don't give a crap about the remake. I don't want to see it. I don't want to watch the remake. I've seen the trailer, and I don't like it. I don't like what I see. And the reason I don't like what I see is because you can't improve upon perfection. You can't remake or remaster something that is already flawless. And Ranma 1/2 is already a flawless anime that has so much fucking charm and love and care poured into it. And it is such it still holds up. It's still a beautiful looking show. It's still extremely fun and expressive. And yeah, it endures. It holds up just fine. Now, I might sound like a little bit of a hypocrite here because I did praise the Urusei Yatsura remake by David Production. I liked that remake. Hell, I thought that remake was good. And ironically, that was a remake of another Rumiko Takahashi work. But I liked that one. And I'm not entirely sure what it is. I don't know. Maybe part of it is that that show aired 10 years prior to Ranma 1/2. So maybe it felt a bit more justifiable. I mean, the remake did tighten up the original series into something more digestible, I guess. But to be honest, I don't know. I think they just did that good of a job recapturing the same charm of the original series into a more condensed form. I don't know. I liked that remake. It felt like a celebration of a franchise that, like, maybe a lot of anime fans either have never heard of or completely forgotten about. So that one being brought back into relevance through a remake, because that's the one positive thing that maybe remakes can have going for them, is they can kind of bring relevance back to a franchise that maybe had been forgotten by the zeitgeist. It's just a shame that we need remakes to do that, you know? Like, I feel like on the commercial end, that's all this Ranma 1/2 remake is for. You know? That's what a lot of these remakes in general, be it anime or anything else, that's what they tend to be for. They tend to be for just bringing back commercial relevance to a franchise or a brand that has no longer had relevance in the modern zeitgeist. And I don't know, I just feel like, you know, it's one of those cases where, like, why can't we just go back and rediscover these things? Like, Ranma 1/2 in particular is still available for streaming. Like, you can watch this on Hulu. Like, it's still available, the entire series. Like, there's no reason to... We shouldn't need a remake for anime fans that have never heard of Ranma 1/2 before to be like, oh, I've never heard of this, but now that they remade it, I'll give it a chance. Well, why don't you just go back and watch the original show? Like, it's still there. It's still good. It's still entertaining. And it still holds up. You will still enjoy it. You don't need to be, like, brought up in the 90s to understand the humor or to get what's going on. It's not something that like is outdated because of the era it was released in. Like, Ranma 1/2, if anything, I would argue even more than Urusei Yatsura, really does hold up regardless of the era it was released in. Like, there is no reason for this anime whatsoever to be remade. So, like, it's not that I think the footage for the new Ranma 1/2 trailer looks bad. I mean, I don't think it looks as good as the original, personally. I think the art style and the bold colors and just the overall art in general just pops a lot more in the original show. But hey, that's my personal opinion there. Maybe somebody thinks the remake looks much better. I don't know. But regardless of that, at the end of the day, my biggest problem with the remake is that it's not the original show. The original show, it still exists, and there's no reason for a remake. It's the same complaint we all tend to have about remakes. Why remake something that's still good? And yeah, you know, like for me, remakes are usually something you do when something no longer works or feels outdated, and you can modernize it in a way that enhances it. Maybe something in a way that couldn't be done before. Ranma 1/2 doesn't need that. So, like, you know, it's just not necessary. And look, I won't deny it. I have a fuck ton of nostalgia for this anime. I have a lot of nostalgia. Like, I do love this freaking anime a great deal, okay? This was my first real, like, TV anime of all time. And Akane in particular, this chick right here with the blue dress there, she's like my first anime crush, man. She's like my first waifu, no doubt. Like, I plan to make a waifu list soon, a video like listing my favorite waifus, because I've never done that before. And I feel like Akane will definitely be on that list. So there's a bit of a spoiler for you. Okay, Ranma 1/2 is one of my favorites. It really is. So, like, obviously it's a more personal thing for me, sure. But again, the argument here is simple. Why do we need a remake of something that's still great, regardless of when it came out, regardless of how long it's been around? I feel like a lot of times age doesn't even matter, because Spice and Wolf got a freaking remake, and that anime adaptation is only like 10 years old, a little over 10 years old. And somebody felt that needed a freaking remake, that needed a new adaptation. And I'm just like, yeah, sometimes age doesn't even matter. It doesn't even play a factor in why these things get remade. Sometimes it really just comes down to, we want to refresh the brand. We wanted an excuse to release more commercial merch and all this other shit. Just give the brand a reset so that we can go over all the same commercial shit again, you know, and make our money back. And it's, you know, it's not cool, man. It's not cool. Now, I'm not saying this remake existing matters a whole lot at the end of the day. At worst, it's just something that, like, is going to take a little bit of attention away from the original. But honestly, at best, it's just going to release a whole lot of new merch that, like, you know, wouldn't have been around because the original anime is so old and sadly doesn't get a whole lot of merch treatment these days. So, like, I don't really care if the remake exists. I'm just gonna not watch it. I mean, I might buy the new merch, because at least it'll have new merch that's still Ranma 1/2 related. But I just don't care about this remake. I will not watch this remake. It doesn't get the pass that I think the Urusei Yatsura remake does. You know, it's the little things. It's all the little things that the original show has. You know, the animation style, the music, like all the little things that you just can't, like, it. I'm not saying this remake should be one-to-one, because that would be even more pointless. I'm just saying, why even do this in the first place, Mappa? You should be putting your resources into something new, something interesting, and instead you're remaking this. Ranma 1/2. Why? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Remaking something that's perfectly fine. It's still a great show. Like, all these images I'm showing you here are from the original series. And it still looks great. Like, I don't know why you would want to remake this. And the trailer definitely doesn't put up a good argument as to why. It doesn't. Like, there's nothing offensive about it at all towards the original series. It's just like, if anything, it's still close enough to the original series that it makes it even more pointless. It's like, what are you doing? It's just a shinier version. And not in a good sense. It's like, not in the cool way that Urusei Yatsura remake was. It's just like, yeah, remember this? It's back, even though it never left. Even though it's still available and you can stream it right now. You don't have to wait for its premiere in October when this remake comes out and starts airing on Netflix. You could just watch the original show. You can just watch it and you'll get the same experience, only considerably better, because the original series was perfect. You can't really improve on something that's perfect. So the remake, if anything, will just be an odd imitation. It'll just be distracting. So, there you go. There you go. I freaking love Ranma 1/2. This show is a big deal to me, man. Anybody who watches my Twitch channel will know this, because, like, my end stream, my end screen for the streams that I do has some Ranma 1/2 art. And, like, yeah, I do adore this show quite a bit. I do highly recommend it. Like I said, it's available for streaming on Hulu. You can watch the whole series on Hulu. And it still holds up really well. Like, it's really freaking good. I don't know if there are any other streaming services with this show right now that I can think of. But, yeah, it's on Hulu. Hopefully it stays there for a while. Because as far as I know, it's the only streaming service that's showing this show. But it's really, really good. There might even be some Blu-rays out there for it now. I don't know. I'd have to look into that myself. But, like, this is a great show. My favorite anime comedy of all time. And it's really, really good. I'm not going to sit here and explain the plot or anything. You can look that shit up yourself. We got Google for that. But, like, it's good. It's really good. If these images don't look charming as hell to you and don't look fun, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Rumiko Takahashi, the main manga author behind this series and many others, she's probably the best. I was gonna say one of. No, she's the best female manga author of all time. And yeah, she created Urusei Yatsura, Ranma 1/2, Inuyasha, to name a few. Those are her most popular. And Ranma 1/2 has always been my favorite out of all those. So, this is the one. I highly recommend it. Early 90s anime, gold. It started airing, I think, in 89 or something. But, like, yeah, technically early 90s anime. And it's freaking great. Doesn't need a remake. Just watch the original. I implore you to go watch the original. Okay? Just go watch the OG. Sometimes OG is where you gotta stick to, man. Just watch the OG. And until next time, live for the passion. Bye. Bye.